turn this into this. I'm the Great British Chocolatier, and you're watching Chocolate Plus. Hello and welcome to another episode of Chocolate Plus. My name is Mark, aka the Great British Chocolatier, and today we're going to be making some Christmas crack. Okay, for those who didn't hear at the back, we're making some Christmas crack. Alright, it's Christmas crack. We're gonna make it with some tiny twists, some pretzels, because I don't have any saltines, but you can use saltines, and that's good. You're gonna need some caramel, and the 5-pound block of caramel is back. Yes, it is. If you've never seen a 5-pound block of caramel, now you have. And this thing is pretty weighty. Of course, you don't need to have 5 pounds of caramel. You can just go to the store and buy those caramel bits in the bag. There's about 10 to 12 ounces in there. But I like this, so I'm gonna use this on lots of different things. Salted caramels, I make pecan turtles and all the whole nine. But today we're making some crack. Some caramel pretzel chocolate crack. And we're gonna use these as our base. So, very easy. And if you have saltines, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna put a nice single layer. So I'm gonna put this in a single layer, but you want a single layer of all the pretzels. You don't want to double them up. You want a single layer. And saltine crackers are easier to work with because when I pour the caramel on here, Alright, okay. So we need to slice off some of our caramel. So we do that simply by cutting it up and making another cut. And we're probably gonna need we don't want a thick amount of caramel on here. We want a very thin that just goes over, that just basically covers the top of there. So we want it'd be about 10 to 12 ounces of caramel, which would be equivalent of about 1 packet of caramel. Don't buy the caramel squares that are covered in plastic, because they'll just take forever to take out. So you want about this much. What is this much? Let's get a measuring thing. Alright. Well, let me do this and tear that. Oh. Tear that. And how could it be weightless? Hold on a minute. Something's not. 14.3. I think that's a little bit too much. You don't want that much caramel. So I'm going to take a shade off. Alright, 10.5. I can work with 10.5. Okay. Now what we're going to do with this caramel is we are going to melt it down, and I'm going to help it by cutting it up. Now I've always told you don't boil your caramel because it will turn into a toffee-like substance. So when you're making turtles or anything involving soft caramel, you don't want to boil your caramel. If you bought a store-bought one, it just turn rock hard and the turtles would be too hard to eat. So you want to keep it soft. And so you're just gonna in that kind of project, you're just gonna make it, you're just gonna soften it. But here, we're gonna boil it because we want to take out the moisture that's in here, and it's the moisture that comes out of the caramel that hardens it up. So, same rule of thumb, 30 seconds at a time. Don't need those anymore. And we really want it, and it's going to be crazy hot, so you can't touch it with your hands because hot sugar, hot caramel will stick to your skin, and it will be a trip to the emergency room, which nobody wants, especially at this time of year. Alright, so let me get a spoon, and this is probably going to take, see, it's slowly melting there. So we want it boiling, so we're going to stir it a bit and put it back in. See, it's coming out the bottom. Okay, see how that is? Super melty, super hot. Let me close this, and we're gonna pour this slowly over. In fact, I probably needed more than I used because I'm using a giant tray here. So at this point, I probably could have used 2 bags of caramel, or twice as much as a. Well, that's okay. All right. So I'm gonna melt another one. I don't know what I'm doing. Let me speed this up. I'll melt more caramel. Because clearly that's not enough, and that's fine. Okay, here we go. It's all bubbling up in there. It got so hot I lost the ring. I lost the ring of the but we're just going to pour this over all the spots that we didn't hit. Like so. Making sure we cover everything, and then we should be good. So we ended up finding out we needed, because we're using such a large tray, now if you have an offset spatula, you can push the caramel around a little bit. I don't, so I'm using a back of a spoon. And I really want to get into all the nooks and crannies. Like so. Try not to disturb the pretzels too much. Alright, so now we got that done. That's still red hot. Don't touch this because, like I said, you're going to burn. I've got my milk chocolate in here. So I'm just gonna remelt that. Then I've got our Christmas sprinkles here and here. Alright, it may look like I'm all over the place here, but I really am not. Okay, so we have our chocolate. And because the caramel is still hot, I'm only going to give it a thin layer of the about 10 ounces, 12 ounces of chocolate here. And now with the back of our spoon, we're going to just cover up the entire surface. And this is pretty much how we made our English toffee the other day on one of the videos. But we're calling this Christmas bark because this is what they call this. So, but the process is similar, if not the same, just slightly different ingredients. If you've got an offset spatula, of course, use that. But we're using a spoon because I don't know anybody that has a angled spatula. That looks like a knife. All right, so this is still hot. The camera underneath is still hot. Okay, so let's put some sprinkles on this thing. Anticipation, staggering. And that ain't too bad, but I have more, and that's how we do. Cover. And these sink into the chocolate. It empties out real quick. Alright, let's do our snowflakes. And they're almost out now. And the last one is the sugar. It's like a glitter, so that might not work as much. But we'll just sprinkle that on anyway. Like a absorb into the... That didn't work. So there we have it. This goes into the fridge for about 10 minutes, 10-20 minutes. And when that's done, we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Look at this. Looks absolutely delicious. And I mean, look at this. Who wouldn't want that? Alright, let's break this up. Now, if I did this correctly, this should snap. If I didn't do it correctly, it won't snap. And it's not snapping, which meant I didn't boil it long enough. So, I'm gonna have to cut it. And it's pretty tough to cut. But look at that, absolutely delicious. So am I upset that it didn't snap? Not really. So this is Christmas soft caramel. It's supposed to crack in pieces, but it didn't. So when you do this, you're gonna just make sure you leave it in the microwave for a little bit longer than what I did. And it only probably needed another 30 seconds to a minute. So, alright. Let me cut this and we'll be right back. Pretty tough. Alright, time for our famous red plate. Hashtag famous fair play. And even though this is soft caramel, this would be a joy for everybody to eat and enjoy. So there's no worries. I mean, this obviously will make a lot. And alright, let's look at this. This is a mountain. A mountain of goodness. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. And the only place we went wrong is it's supposed to be Christmas crack where it snaps, but it's not. It's still very soft. So let's give it a taste. It's nice and chewy. The salt of the pretzel comes through. It's just it's absolutely amazing. There we go. This is our Christmas crackless crack because it didn't crack. So there we go. We got, let's call this English pretzel toffee. I don't know. We'll call it something. But there you go. You can make this if you do want to make it crack. You have to make sure boiling in the microwave. You can put it on the stove top if you're uncomfortable with the nuclear. We're putting it in the microwave. Put it on the stove top and really boil the water out of the candy, out of the caramel. But there we go. That's all we have time for you today. Thank you for watching. If you like it, hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget, if you haven't yet subscribed, chocolatize that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell, which will let you know every time a new video has been uploaded. We got 1 day left and it's gonna be Christmas. Oh my God, it's so exciting. Anyway, in the meantime, thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.